Hello and welcome to today's edition of the AFCON preview show on Ghana Web TV with me, Emmanuel Enin. So today we will be discussing the Black Stars game against Comoros. You know, Black Stars lost their first game against Morocco and then drew against Gabon. So there's some calculations to be done. Of course, we will do that calculations on this show right here and also analyze the possible opponents Ghana will be facing if they manage to beat Comoros. So on today's show, my guest for today is Oreku Ampofo of Joy Sports and Samuel Ziga, football analyst, also covering the tournament in Cameroon. Gentlemen, you are welcome.
Thank you and much. Good to be on your platform.
So I'll start with you, Oreku. Before we get to talk about the Black Stars, what's your thoughts on the AFCON so far?
I think it's been a good tournament, and it's everything that we expected when CAF decided to increase the number of teams from 16 to 24. We've seen, quote unquote, the minnows really grab their chance. And to be honest, we saw a preview of it in the 2019 Africa Cup of Nations, where we had a host of upsets. I think the standout was Benin knocking out favorites Morocco in the round of 16. You could also consider South Africa themselves finishing third and knocking out host Egypt in the round of 16 as well. So I think it's a pattern that maybe we'll have to get used to. Yesterday's game, Equatorial Guinea versus Algeria, I think tops it off. And it just really stands for what African football is. You wouldn't be seeing any team overpowering the other in the games, and it's pretty tight. And I've been impressed so far with this much smaller teams, and rather disappointed with the favorites, especially going forward. I thought they would be able to be more creative. But then again, a lot of factors have gone into the tournament preparation and teams have failed to prepare adequately. But I think it's now just about warming up. And for me, the tournament really starts off with the knockout round, and hopefully Ghana would be part of that.
Okay, so Ziga, let me bring you in. People have been saying that the AFCON have been boring. I mean, it has been boring. What's your take on that?
Well, I wouldn't grudge anyone who would make the analogy or the analysis that this particular AFCON has been boring. I think it's relative. We expected, teams to dominate. We expected, the giants of African football to actually, possess their way through, to show their powers in terms of the quality they have and all that. But we've not really seen that in this competition. And like Oreku rightly mentioned, a lot of things happened prior to the start of the tournament. Preparation has not been as expected. COVID, teams releasing their players late and all that. These things kind of stifled teams' preparations. And you wouldn't expect a tournament to look that lucrative when things of this nature happens, because, this is a team sport. You need the players to have that telepathy. You need the players to come for longer periods to get used to each other. This is not club football. This is national team football. It's a confluence of factors that make a team successful. So if these things are absent, obviously you wouldn't be getting the best out of these teams. But hey, apart from that, we've seen the minnows, underdogs, actually bringing to the fore what we should all expect in competitions. I don't think there will be an interesting competition when there are no underdogs actually beating the giants or superpowers of any competition, like what happened yesterday, Equatorial Guinea against Algeria, also Sierra Leone against Ivory Coast. We should expect more in this competition. For me personally, from what I've seen here in Cameroon, it's quite looking like an underdog could cause an upset in this tournament. Forget about the names. Forget about the big stars.
So you think one of the minnows will win the tournament?
Yeah. I think I'll stick my neck out and say that, because, though early days yet, but from what I've seen in terms of football, in terms of, the confidence, how these sides are not afraid to burst forward to run at these so-called big giants, it's looking like they now have a sense of belief that, look, football is a team sport. It's not about individual quality. Sometimes when you're that disciplined and you know what you can do on a day, obviously you run away with the maximum 3 points of the victory for the day.
All right, so let's talk about the Black Stars. We've spoken about the AFCON, so let's talk about the Black Stars. Now, let me stick with you, Ziga. How do you rate the Black Stars after 2 games, losing to Morocco 1-0 and then drawing against Gabon?
Well, on the face of the results that has panned out of the 2 games, it's quite obvious that we've not had the best of stats. That's not what we bargained for. That's not what we literally signed up for. One would expect the Black Stars to be dominating a team like Morocco or a team like Gabon. But hey, football these days doesn't go by that logic. You would need to be properly, coached, very disciplined, and also to be ruthless on the day to be able to actually, see yourself out of that phase. And the Black Stars, unfortunately, have not been able to go through this patch. It's been a difficult one for them, looking like the players are not too used to each other. And it's taking a while for them to actually acclimatize with the competition. And this is something that is not Ghanaian. We as Ghanaians actually deserve a lot, and we actually ask a lot from them. We want them to be winning the games. We want them to be dominating. We want them to be banging in the goals. That's what is expected of them. But once it's not coming, everyone at all is actually entitled or has the right to criticize and criticize constructively. We don't have to, kill their spirits. They are humans just as we are, but we can only rally around them, rally behind them, support them, so that tomorrow against Comoros, we could get the victory that could seal qualification into the last 16, even though it's looking quite difficult at this stage.
Of course, we have to beat Comoros by all means. Oreku, let me bring you in on this. People are of the view that the players are not committed enough in the games being played. How your thoughts on the Black Stars not being committed?
Well, I don't think that's true. I've spoken to some players, and Gideon Mensah, I had the privilege of interviewing him before the tournament, and he could, you could tell the aura from, what he was saying and how he felt, and, the mood in the camp, especially in Doha. And what you could get from that was that they understand that they're a young team, 17 debutants in the Africa Cup of Nations. But one thing that they do know is that they are young. They've also been hurt, by the national team in recent years. And they know that they have an opportunity to make things right. Everyone, I think, every footballer dreams of playing for the national team and playing at the biggest stage, being inclusive. So I don't think it's a question of commitment. They have huge bonuses to win if they do win the tournament, and everybody loves money. So I think they're motivated and committed. However, I think that the shortcomings are beyond them, and they're just meeting teams that are probably better than them. You could tell Kamal Dean's frustration when he was going through the media zone, and he said that it's not about us.
Nothing went wrong.
And he was very frustrated. He didn't want to speak to any media person. So I think there's more work to be done with the Black Stars. For me, personally, I believe that we missed out on a transition period in 2019. What we're doing at this AFCON, we should have started after we're knocked out in the round of 16 stage in 2019. And you look at the teams who actually took that bold step of transitioning and bringing in younger players and, a new coach. You look at the likes of Morocco, you look at Algeria themselves, and all of them got to a point where things were really tough. Nigeria qualified for the 2015 AFCON, 2017 AFCON after winning it in 2013. And it got to a time where they said, look, let's just put everything aside, give our young players a chance, give players who deserve game time a chance, and hope for the best. And that's what you could clearly see from these teams I've mentioned. Everyone has a style of play. They're enjoying their successes now. And unfortunately, Ghana is now starting with this tournament. So hopefully it's the right step and they stick to it. And we see these players consistently play for the team. I don't think we'll see the fruits now in terms of harvest. They'll probably come the next 1 or 2 years. So it might require some patience from Ghanaians.
All right, so we go to the game against Comoros. Oreku, you made mention that there's more work to be done. What do you think should be the approach against Comoros? Oreku. Hello, Oreku. Okay, it seems we've lost Oreku there. So let me go to Ziga. Ziga, what do you think should be the approach against Comoros?
A murky situation, but All hope is not lost. We just have to make sure we are ruthless on the day. We have to ensure that we take our chances. If you watch the game against Gabon, looking like that was a problem with the team. We failed to capitalize on our chances. Those petty details, those little details really count in games of this nature. This is a tournament, and every single minute, you need to have that concentration. You don't have to lose concentration. Every team is coming in to fight you. We are Ghana. We are a superpower in this competition, 4 times African champions, and everyone is looking at us. The Cameroonians are all even shocked that we are having such a poor start to the competition. So what we have to do in Garua tomorrow is just to be ruthless, play our football, free our minds, make sure that we don't let the external, backlashes and the criticism get to the players. Once we find our rhythm, I think we wouldn't have any issues beating Comoros. But that's not to say Comoros are not a good side. I watched them against Morocco. They looked very, very explosive, stringing the passes all together. But look a bit blunt up front, and that could be to our advantage because look, if you're creating chances and you're not scoring, obviously you get punished for that. So we should be punishing them on situations of that nature. And I think that Ghana wouldn't have issues doing that on the day.
Ziga, thanks for your comments over there on how the Black Stars should approach the game. So we'll go to Cameroon, where we've been joined by the managing editor of Ghana Web, Daniel Odro, and we speak to him on the injury situations at camp. So Daniel Odro, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Please, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. I hope you're doing well.
Yeah, I'm doing okay. So what's the injury situation at the Black Stars camp?
Well, before the team left to Garua yesterday, there were about 3 or so injury situations or players in camp. The serious one is David Abagna, who most likely would be the end of his tournament. I think he may take a miracle. It would take a miracle for him to play any part in the tournament because of the way he was limping. Of course, I am not a medical expert, so maybe something can be done. But from a layman's perspective and the way I saw him limping at training, it would really be difficult to see him play any part in Ghana's campaign. The other injury situation in camp had to also do with Mubarak Wakasu, who all of you would attest has not played any part in this competition so far. He's been seen in training with the bandage on his left knee, and over the course of the last few days, he's been training separately from the squad, the rest of the squad. And so he would be racing against time to be fit for the last group game. They will train later this evening, and then we would see if he is fully fit and will be part of the entire squad and not be training alone as at today, because the game is tomorrow. And there were also injury updates on Baba Idrisu, who picked up a knock in the second game against Gabon, came off, and as you would recall, it was after he was substituted that Ghana conceded. And many say it indicates how important he is to the squad, because he does a lot of the dirty work in the midfield, is the spoiler and the breaker of the opponent's attack. And once he was injured and got off, we were a bit open in the midfield area. The indications are that he may be slightly okay for the next game. And so we'll see how that goes. In terms of the official, if you like, communication from CAF, there is also an injury to Richard Atta, except that it is not obvious if you visit the training grounds and watch them train, because he trains with the team. But every time the CAF sheet comes, it tells you how many injured players are in the squad. And Richard Atta's name has been mentioned as one of the players who is injured in the Black Stars squad. However, the interesting fact is that every time Milovan Raiva has spoken to the media in his pre-match conference, he's always said the team has no injury concerns and the team has no COVID concerns. So that's a bit of an irony, because some of us who have been at the training grounds could obviously tell that the likes of Wakasu and the likes of Abagna are not fully fit as at the second game.
So it looks like we have a depleted squad in Cameroon.
Well, I don't think 2 players being injured would qualify to be classified as a depleted squad. However, if if you want to add to the equation the likes of Kudus Mohammed, the likes of Samuel Tete, who's been red carded and will be unavailable for 3 games, then that's Benjamin Tete, I beg your pardon. Then you could say that there are about 4 or 5 players who are not participating in this tournament, and maybe, just maybe, that is a sign of worry. But I won't readily say it's a depleted squad, because these players, Abagna is not necessarily a first choice starter in the team. I won't say Mubarak Wakaso over the last couple of games has been a prominent feature in the national team, but for his experience and for all the AFCONs he's played, you would expect that he'll bring that to bear, and he not being available would come across as a blow to the squad. But I won't say it's a depleted squad.
All right, so how is the atmosphere like? Are the players ready for the must-win game tomorrow against Comoros?
Well, that's the indication we get. I'm still in Yaoundé. I'll leave for Garoua tomorrow morning. It's a 1-hour flight, but the team left yesterday and they will train later this evening. But I mean, the indications are that they know what is at stake. They know it's a win or bust situation that we're in, and it's going to be criminal and unpardonable if Ghana were to be eliminated in the first round. The last time that happened was in 2006, if my memory serves me right. So that's a very long time ago. And since 2008, we've been in the semi-finals, except for the last edition where we were kicked out in the round of 16. If we got kicked out in the first round, that would be another low, if you like, moment in the history of Ghana football. So they know what's at stake. They know their reputations are at stake. There are some players who know this could possibly be their last Nations Cup, and they know they need to step up and perform for the country.
All right, thanks, Mr. Odro, for the update from the Black Stars camp. And straight away, let me move to Oreku Ampofu. Oreku, before your line went dead, we were talking about Ghana's game against Comoros, how Ghana should approach the game, and Ziga spoke about how he thinks that Milovan Rajovac should approach the game. How dangerous can Comoros be to Ghana tomorrow?
Well, I think that every team at this tournament so far, by the precedents that we've seen, play like they deserve to be here. And so, judging from that, you're going to tell Comoros is not going to respect Ghana. And also, given what they've seen in terms of performances from Ghana, they are definitely not going to be scared of Ghana heading into this game. So that's a negative. And that's because you look at this Comoros side, their first 2 games against Gabon and Morocco, what I've picked from them is that they're very bold, very high defensive line, and they press really high up the pitch. And that's the philosophy that has qualified them to the first of Africa Cup of Nations. And so they're going to stick by it. They've showed that they're going to do it in their first 2 games. And I don't think they're going to change it against Ghana. I felt against Gabon in their first game, they did enough to win that game, out shooting Gabon and also out possessing them. It's just rather unfortunate that they were caught on the break and ended up losing that game. Against Morocco, I thought, the North Africans were just too strong. But Ghana are going to face a team that knows that they still have a chance of qualification. And if they do beat Ghana, they could hope the other results go their way and they could possibly qualify. So it's a never say never situation for them as well as Ghana. But I think that they would be a very difficult side. You've seen throughout the tournament how Ghana have struggled to progress the ball, especially when they're under pressure. And it's the same situation that Ghana is going to face against against Comoros, sorry. However, I think that the most important thing is that Milovan Rajovac deploys tactics that would allow his side to be able to exploit that high line that I mentioned. I think Ghana are a bit too slow moving forward. So Comoros, that's how they're going to line up against Ghana. And I think for the Black Stars, you don't need to say much. A win is the least that's expected from them. You look at the dynamics of this group. Yes, everyone expected Morocco to top the group, but you'd have expected Ghana to finish second as well. And it's not too late. Gabon themselves have about 6 players out against Morocco. You'd expect them to lose that game. However, the onus still lies on the Black Stars to be able to not just win against Comoros, but win comfortably to restore some confidence to the players in the camp, and most importantly, Ghanaians overall.
So you said it's not too late. So Ghana have 1 point after 2 games. It means we are back to the calculation board. Can you help help with the calculations.
Well, in terms of the calculations, it's probably the most complicated that we've seen in a long while, and that's because usually in all our dramatic experiences, 2015 coming to mind, where we had to win our last group game to qualify. It's usually simple. When you win, you qualify. But this time around, you would have to win and hope that as other results go your way. Now, Ghana can only finish second, third, or fourth. If Ghana loses, they are fourth, and then they come home. But to qualify, they would have to finish second or third. We know about the new format. 3 or 4 of the best 6 third place teams would qualify to the round of 16 stage. So Ghana can only finish second if they win and then Gabon lose. However, in terms of the goals scored, as things stand, there's a 3-goal margin between the two teams. So Ghana on -1, Gabon on +1. And so in between the results of the Morocco-Gabon match and the Ghana-Comoros match, there would have to be a 3-goal swing even after Ghana wins and Gabon loses. So that means that Ghana either has to win by at least 2 goals and then Gabon lose by 1-0, or Ghana wins by 1 goal and then Gabon lose by 2 goals. So there has to be at least a 3-goal margin, a 3-goal swing in these 2 games. Of course, the concrete thing is that Ghana has to win, Gabon has to lose. And then the plus is the 3-goal swing. If that swing doesn't happen, that means that Ghana would only finish third. Now, finishing third means that your destiny is definitely not in your own hands, because as things stand, Ghana are not qualifying as one of the best third place teams. Ghana sits 5th in that table. Only 4 would go. That's because the 4 teams above Ghana, 3 of them have 3 points. And then the last one, that's Sierra Leone, have 2 points. Ghana has 1 point and sits 5th. So if Ghana gets to 4 points, that means that you'd have to hope that all the teams above Ghana, first off, did not win. Because if all of them win, then automatically they're all going to go above you, and Ghana will probably still end up as the 5th, 3rd best place team and wouldn't be going. So it's a lot of combinations once you enter the territory of finishing third, because you would have to keep an eye on close to 7-8 matches, and they have to go your way for you to stand a chance. There's also a very, very unlikely scenario that Ghana could still qualify with a draw. And that means that Sierra Leone in the first place have to lose heavily. And then also you have to then keep an eye on 6 other scenarios. But those scenarios, all of them have to happen. All 7 scenarios must happen. If one fails to happen, that draw would not be enough. But I think the baseline is that Ghana has to win, because once you don't win, or once you don't win comfortably, it could get really, really messy, because this time around is really, really competitive, and it's going to be difficult to qualify as one of the best third place teams, especially if Ghana doesn't win comfortably.
All right, so apparently that's very complicated calculations over there. So let me bring you in, Ziga. Ziga, if Ghana managed to sail through, how far do you predict that the team can go?
Well, when it comes to tournament dynamics, you can't judge a team by its performance in the group stages. We've seen it over and over again. From, if not the African Cup of Nations, we can talk about the Euros, we can talk about the Under-20 World Cup, Under-20 Cup of Nations and all that. So once a team is able to, qualify out of a group, it's a different ballgame altogether. It's no respecter of your pedigree in the group. So I think it's quite open now. Once we get out of the group, it means everything is starting afresh. It means that you need to renew your mentality that, look, this is the best of the best that are facing off in the round of 16. And if you're coming, you need to bring your A game to the party. So I look at all these and I still have that belief that, look, if Ghana should pull through, tomorrow, we could go a long way. Last 16 wouldn't be our stop, not even the quarterfinal. We could go all the way. I'm quite optimistic about our chances. Slow starters. I believe so much in that mantra that, look, it only gets better when you learn from your past experiences. And you know that once you are going to meet an opponent that is well entrenched, that is more determined than you, you need to put up a fight in such situations. So I look at all these and to be honest, I see a clear path. There's a green light. There's certainly a light. There's certainly some light at the end of the tunnel. I know Ghanaians back home are not so confident about our chances and all that, but I want to be that person to instill that belief in Ghanaians that we might have performed poorly in the first, second game, but it could start from somewhere. You can only face what is ahead of you. Comoros is next. Let's beat Comoros, and then we can think about who to meet next. It's game by game, and I'm very sure that we can see past the sides when we meet them in the last season.
All right, so let me bring you in, Oreku. Ziga is talking about taking it game after game. Who will be the possible opponents Ghana could face in the round of 16 if we manage to beat Comoros tomorrow?
Well, yeah, I did earlier mention that Ghana can only finish second or third. And if you look at, if Ghana finishes second and goes above Gabon, it would leave the Black Stars with just one possible opponent in the round of 16, and that's whoever comes in second in Group A. Hopefully that's not Cameroon, but there's still a possibility of that. But yeah, in terms of whoever finishes second in Group A, it could be Cameroon themselves, depending on how their last game goes, and also Ethiopia, Cape Verde, and I think Ethiopia, Cape Verde would also be battling it out alongside, the host country as well. Burkina Faso would also be in the mix, and so it's still pretty open. And but it's likely, from what we've seen, that Cameroon will probably most likely top. Finishing second will probably be between Burkina Faso and then Cape Verde, as we've also seen. So if Ghana finishes second, I think meeting a Cape Verde, Burkina Faso or possibly Ethiopia is not that bad. And that would still be in itself a good chance for Ghana to, continue taking strides in the tournament. However, if you finish third, it gets really bleak for you because the tournament is designed in such a way that it doesn't favor the third place teams. It's almost as if CAF is just doing you a favor. And it's a quota just created for teams such as Comoros, Gambia making their first ever appearance, just to have a taste of the round of 16. You're not put into that scenario to go and win. And so it's really difficult because the moment you get out of the group as third place from Group C, you are either going to meet whoever tops in Group A or Group B, which is likely to be Cameroon or Senegal. And so if Senegal do also finish above Guinea in Group B, which is likely. But you do not want to meet a team like Cameroon who've not lost in Yaoundé, and they've not lost in Yaoundé for almost 40 years or so, and they'll be playing the round of 16 tie in Yaoundé. You do not want to meet them that early. It's very difficult and tricky against host nation. So if Ghana finishes third, it's a much trickier path because even after you meet either Cameroon or Senegal, you're going to keep on meeting teams that top their group if they also win their matches. So the potential path is really tough if you finish third. Second place, you get a much easier or relatively easier opponent in round of 16. Then it gets tougher from the quarterfinal, which is fair. And so Ghana still has an opportunity to really design their own path and destiny in the knockout stages. It's tournament football has gone past this time where you just want to qualify. You need to strategically qualify and make sure that you fall at a favorable side of the draw, especially when you know that you've not really caught flames yet in terms of your pattern and play and rhythm, and you want more games to be able to get closer to your peak. And I think Ghana should be aiming for a second spot and probably a possible Cape Verde or Burkina Faso in the round of 16.
Yeah, from the Ghanaian perspective, I would like Ghana to finish second in the group, so we will have a safe path per what Oreku Ampofo has said. Now, let me bring in Daniel Odro. Danny, you've been with the team since the draw against Cameroon. Tomorrow, we have to bring our A game and we have to have our best players on the pitch. How do you think Ghana will line up for the game tomorrow? Hello, Daniel Odro.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. I was asking, you've been with the team since the draw against Gabon, and you've monitored their trainings and all. How do you think the Black Stars will line up against Comoros tomorrow?
So usually you would get that idea on the eve of the game. So today's training session will give us a fair idea of how the team is going to line up. We are told that there will be some changes because there's been a meeting between officials of the team and then the technical team. But today's training will give us a fair idea where we are. I believe that by close of day today we would know. What I genuinely believe is that the team needs goals. The team needs to be set free. The team needs to go on the offensive very early on in the game against Comoros. So we'll see and know how the players will line up. Yesterday was just a shake-up, or what we call a recovery training after the Gabon defeat. So usually that won't give you an idea of how the team will line up. Uh, so, like I say, and the risk of sounding a cliche, we will know by close of day.
Okay, so there's been reports that Fatawu Issahaku could start tomorrow. Do you see that happening?
I think that's a very firm possibility because we have lack creators in the middle of the park. And if there's any player in this team who can create chances and take on defenders, and then that will be Fatawu Issahaku. I'm sure that's why the coach Milovan Rajevac was eager to have Mohamed Kudus in the lineup. I think he and Ishaku are the two creative players that we have in the squad. Outside of them, everybody is more of the same, especially when it comes to the midfielders. Edmond Ado, if you Baba Idris, who sometimes, yes, you have Thomas Partey playing a bit upfield and he can help with the attack. But in the absence of Kudus, you would want to believe naturally that it is Ishak who can play in that position. Not many have been impressed with Kamaldeen Sulemana. So would see if he will get another look in. He started the 2 games that Ghana has played, and he hasn't impressed a lot in those games. It was quite strange to see that Joseph Pentel didn't get a look in the starting lineup against Gabon. So in my estimation, someone like Fatawu Issahaku could come in, and then someone like Joseph Penta could start ahead of Kamaldeen Sulemana. Those 2 changes could, if you like, free the squad a bit, free the players a bit, and let them go on the offensive. I think many have not been impressed with the likes of Kamaldeen and Jordan Ayew, and so those are the 2 players I would like to see come off and start from the bench and give Ishaku and Joseph Pentel an opportunity to start the game.
All right, so gentlemen, before I take leave of you, today the round 3 is starting and 2 games will be played. So I would like to get your predictions on the 2 games being played today. And we have Burkina Faso playing Ethiopia and then Cape Verde playing already qualified Cameroon. So I would like to take your prediction. I'll start with you, Oreku.
I would believe that Burkina Faso, they've recovered from the slow start that they had in that first game against Cameroon. I think that they still played well, and there were a lot of positives to take from that game. They went on and they beat a very strong side in Cape Verde, and now I think that they do have the upper hand against Ethiopia, who have been quite underwhelming this competition. They've proven to be a bit naive, play very well, but defensively, I don't think they have what it takes to compete in tournament football yet. And I expect Burkina Faso to exploit that and probably get a win. A draw will probably be enough for them to as well to secure qualification. Now, Cape Verde, Cameroon wouldn't be as straightforward as a lot of people think. Both teams were in the same qualification group for the Africa Cup of Nations. They played twice last year. The first game ended 0-0. And then Cape Verde beat Cameroon in their home by 3-1. And it was the same Cameroonian coach, Conceição. So it's going to be tricky. And it wouldn't be a straightforward game because remember, Cameroon themselves, they've showed weaknesses in both games. Against their first game against Burkina Faso, I think they started slow. Very similar circumstances in their second game too as well against Ethiopia. And despite, coming back, I think that there's always a limit to everything. And they cannot afford to start slow against Cape Verde and think they'll be able to call back into the game again. So I think 2 very evenly matched games, but I would keep an eye on the Cape Verde Cameroon one. I think that it could possibly continue the trend of unpredictable results in the competition so far.
Okay, Ziga, let me get your thoughts on today's games.
Well, I'm looking at the host nation in Cameroon. How they play their first and second games. There are still some loopholes in the team. The team doesn't look set yet, but like we all say, goals and wins actually conceal a lot of things. It conceals a lot of, loopholes in your team or your setup. But sometimes you need them. The most important thing in association football is the win. And once you are getting your players to bag in the goals, even though you concede, if you score more than you're conceding, that's what fans will be talking about. That's what, the analysts will actually be raging about. So they don't really concentrate on your kind of weaknesses. But they've already qualified. But I think they would want to go for a 100% record, because a defeat or a draw could actually slow down their momentum, could bring down their confidence. Every team wants to score. Every team wants to be winning. Nobody wants to draw. Nobody wants to actually lose a game. So I see Cameroon actually winning this game today. And with Burkina Faso against Ethiopia, that's quite a tricky tie. Very, very tricky tie. These are two sides that have proven to be very energetic. They love to possess the ball. We are in for a very fantastic game, like very fluid football. If I had a chance, that's the game I'll be watching today. Ethiopia themselves have shown that they can dominate, they can score, and they can be very disciplined on a given day. And that's what every coach will be looking forward to. That's what every fan will want to see from their team. And Burkina Faso, on the other hand, very energetic, explosive, not scared to barge forward, not scared to make those decisions up front. So that could be the pick of the lot out of today's game. But I see Burkina Faso defeating Ethiopia today, and Cameroon also winning their game.
So Burkina and Cameroon making it out of Group B there, or the Group A. Daniel Dro, let me bring you in. Do you see Cameroon maintaining their momentum against Cape Verde today?
I think they've got momentum going on their side. You should see them when they play. The atmosphere is unbelievable, and I don't see how they're going to lose in front of their home fans. I think they've asserted themselves as one of the favorites to lift this trophy, and the kind of football they have played gives credence to that kind of, if you like, belief. Not many would have considered them coming into this tournament. The likes of Algeria and a lot of the North Africans were in the reckoning, but as you have seen, I think many would agree that beyond Cameroon, Nigeria and Cameroon have played some of the best football at this tournament. Yes, some of the lowly rated teams have also performed well. But if you are talking about teams with pedigree who have won this AFCON, and don't forget, Cameroon is the second most successful country in terms of the Africa Cup of Nations. They've won it 5 times, only behind Egypt. And so it tells you their pedigree. And they have got a very rich history at home. Even though they are playing at the new stadium, the history they have at the old stadium is even unbelievable. They've gone many years, since 1988, I believe, that they last won at that stadium. And generally, when they play, you could see that the entire country is behind them. They've got an inspirational captain who is by far
Vincent
maybe the
Abubakar,
standout performer of the tournament so far. And so they've got everything going for them. I think they are going to win this last game and top the group with 9 points.
All right, thanks, gentlemen, for your time. And this is where we wrap up on the show. This has been the AFCON preview show on Ghana Web TV with me, Emmanuel Enin, and I did this with Oreku Ampofo from Joy Sports, and also Ziga, football analyst who is covering the AFCON tournament in Cameroon, and Danny Odro, Ghana Web's representative in Cameroon, the managing editor of Ghana Web. Together we've made this show a success. So meet you some other time.